I swam and ran in the Kuroshio Aquathon like a bold water chicken. The Aquathon is an event held in Kuroshio where athletes swim 1.5 kilometers in the ocean and then run 10 kilometers without a rest in between. I'll tell you, as a runner, swimming 1.5 kilometers doesn't sound all that far. What I've learned the hard way is that swimming is considerably slower than running, so even a short distance is surprisingly challenging. Leading up to the event, I ran and swam on average about 5 days a week for 3 months. I was also going to the gym and weight training for an hour most days. It was tough keeping such a strenuous training regimen with work, hobbies, and socialization to do. It was a test of my discipline, but also my time management skills. The day before the race, I could see the swimming course set up in the Saga Bay. It was a triangle made of buoys and rope. It looked like a small course, but I knew that was a deception for sure.
先生, all of us athletes pledge to swim and run to the best of our ability, showcasing the results of our daily hard training and to enjoy the beautiful nature of Kuroshio Town. July 7th, 2024, Athlete Representative Tanner Halbert. Sensei, 我々選手一同は日頃の練習の成果を自分に果たし、Kuroshio町の自然を楽しみながら、精一杯泳ぎ走ることを誓います。令和6年7月7日、選手だよ、Tanner Halberto.
The day of the event, I gave a speech to a Japanese official in English and Japanese, and then I changed into my swim gear and did a short swim test. It was my first real practice swimming in the ocean, as I had been training almost entirely in my local swimming pool. In the test, you swim about 50 meters with lifeguards watching, and then test your goggles, swim gear, and just see how the ocean feels. The ocean is a lot rougher and more brutal than any pool. The water is colder and dries out your mouth and leaves a permanent bitter taste. And even though you're wearing swimming goggles, there's a lot of sediment in the water, so visibility is poor to nothing. Also, it was easy to lose what direction you swim in. I had to keep looking up out of the water and doing a spot check to make sure I was swimming on course. After my test, I felt confident I had the stamina to complete the entire swim, but I also realized it was significantly more uncomfortable to swim in the ocean. Like, really super duper uncomfortable. I knew swimming the full distance would suck. While contemplating how much suck I was about to endure and waiting for the race to start, disaster struck. A Japanese race official told me I had nothing in my race basket, to which I responded, "What race basket?" I had assumed after completing the swimming portion that racers would be given a short grace period where they could dry off, change clothes, and rehydrate in a waiting area. This was not the case. Instead, racers had a basket with some items placed outside where you could store your shoes, socks, a drink, and whatever else a person might need to transition to the run. I had not prepared my basket, so minutes before the race started, I sprinted back to the change room, grabbed my socks, shoes, water, shirt, and threw them in my race basket. Unable to change out of my swimming trunks, as I would have to be naked in public to do so, I knew I was doomed to some severe chafing for the running portion of the Aquathon. I ran back down the hill to the bay, and within minutes, horns sounded and guns fired. The race was on. Immediately, what I noticed about swimming competitions is that other people are the worst obstacle. They kick you, whack you with their arms, ram into you, crawl over you, and sometimes even grab you. Just them swimming anywhere near you gets in the way, even behind you. As if swimming in the ocean didn't suck enough, now I was a swimming punching bag, getting smashed and slammed by other racers. Mercifully, around the second corner of the course, the herd began to thin, and I had more space to swim freely and concentrate on swimming in a straight line. Also, this is worth mentioning, the safety guidelines of the race were more often a hindrance than a help. I frequently found myself getting caught up, bumped, or wrapped around the guidelines if I swam too close. After completing my first lap, I dragged myself onto the beach, dizzy and feeling sick. I took a drink of water, washing the salt out of my mouth, dreading that I still had one more lap of that fresh hell to complete. But I waded back into the water and swam again. Before I reached the first corner, I swallowed 2 big mouthfuls of ocean water when I was intending to breathe, and I had to stop and doggy paddle for a second so I didn't start drowning. I was lucky, the rest of my second lap was uneventful, but it was painful. I had a headache, I felt queasy, I couldn't wait to be out of the water and back on dry land. It was a combination of so many little uncomfortable things that made it a mental battle to keep swimming. I contemplated quitting a couple times on the second lap, but I managed to push through. At last I stumbled onto the beach, unsure if I was going to puke, and accepted water, encouragement, and congratulations from my students. If I had to run feeling this awful, there was a strong possibility I might not finish the race. But after taking off the goggles and swim cap that was squeezing my skull, and getting fresh water and fresh air, I felt my strength returning. Going back to my hastily assembled race basket, I accidentally hopped a barrier, and one of the marshals made me take the 5 steps to go back around it. It's weird, after such a harrowing and brutal swim, my mind was not quite there. I disassociated a little bit and forgot that the barriers mattered. I think putting my mind elsewhere was how I managed to complete the swim and ignore the various things that were painful and uncomfortable, but I needed to come back into reality and pay more attention. I threw on my shirt, drank some sports drink, slipped on my shoes, and sprinted off to complete the 8-kilometer run. The Aquathon's extra challenge was extreme and dangerous heat. The temperature outside was a whopping 38 degrees Celsius, and the officials had actually shortened the running portion by 2 kilometers for this reason. The heat wasn't fun, but it didn't slow my pace or reduce my energy. I still had plenty of drive after completing the swim. My students were happy to see me along the running course and offered me water, sponges, and even gleefully sprayed me down with a garden hose. It all helped keep me and other racers cool in the extreme weather. About 5 minutes into the run, I felt so much better and stronger. I was easily able to complete it in a good time. Many of my students were waiting for me at the finish line, and it felt amazing crossing it and completing the Aquathon. My friend Alex and I have been constructing a Gundam over the last few months. It's my first time building one. Gundams are technologically advanced war machines in Japanese anime, operated by humans or superhumans, and have different styles and fighting capabilities. In the real world, there are small Gundam models based on the Gundams you see in the anime that you can build, and there are countless variations and customizations. My building progress has been slow, but steady, and my Gundam has almost completely been assembled, with just the wings left to construct. Compared to building Lego sets, the shape and geometry of many Gundam parts isn't always intuitive how they fit together. Several times Alex had to pry apart a mistake I made while assembling some complicated pieces. Also, unlike Lego, the Gundam pieces must be individually cut out of a frame, and different frames contain different colored parts, instead of the parts coming in assorted bags. This Gundam has 2 different helmet variations it can use. I quite like both. Soon my masterpiece will be completed, and Alex will embark on the painstaking process of custom painting. I'll share the epic product when it's complete. I played beach tennis for the first time, and I found the experience equal parts entertaining and difficult. My supervisor and her husband helped to organize an event where professional beach tennis players came to Irino Beach and taught high schoolers and the Kuroshio community how to play. First, we spent an hour cleaning the courts, picking up small sticks, sharp shells, raking the sand, and repeating this process to remove anything that could potentially damage our poor feet. Once the courts were mostly stick-free, it was time for our tutorial. The first thing I noticed about beach tennis is that the rackets are like oversized ping pong paddles, and the surfaces are a little bit rough, like alligator skin. Also, it didn't take much power to really make the tennis balls sail off when you hit them. In regular tennis or ping pong, the ball can bounce once in your court, but beach tennis doesn't play like that. Beach tennis functions more like badminton. If the ball touches the ground in your court, you lose a point. We learned various beach tennis skills: serving, my personal favorite, smashing, where several instructors got beaned or bagged by high-power tennis balls, and finally we played a few mock games, all of which I lost miserably within 1 minute. Licking my wounds, I enjoyed eating green lemon shaved ice, a specialty served by our local high school students, and listening to a couple wonderful bands. I'm not going to be a professional beach tennis player anytime soon. At this rate, I might be a professional shaved ice eater. Lots of jet politics have been taking place. My partners for the Kochi A-Jet and for Koban Block stepped down this year, and finding a replacement for them has proved difficult. Since these are volunteer positions to hold within the jet community, and are also leadership positions, I think most people don't want the responsibility with so little personal reward. I can still manage these things fine by myself, but having a partner was a luxury. With the help of the Koban Jet community, we made an epic welcome video for our 2024 jets, featuring events, landscapes, and landmarks in our region. I hope this video will give new jets a good idea of what our local region can offer, and will further encourage and comfort them in their transition to life in Japan. Kochi A-Jet now has an official Instagram account, and a Kochi-wide Discord server has been constructed, creating more opportunities for Kochi Jets to connect with a platform of their choice. In good Shikoku political news, Kagawa A-Jet has a new representative who is interested in running events, which is great. This means I've completed one of my goals as a Block 8 representative, which was to try and invigorate Kagawa's A-Jet machine. Also in good political news, a Shikoku inter-prefecture community has formed, comprised of A-Jet and PA advisors from around Shikoku. This group is beginning to share information and ideas. This is good, as communication between the prefectures earlier, to my knowledge, was quite rare. I also attended the Kochi Regional Advisor Orientation. I think the leadership team in Kochi is quite strong this year, and will serve the jet community and our friends quite well. Kochi A-Jet hosted its 2024 Leavers Dinner. This year's venue was unique. We got to enjoy an all-you-can-eat, all-you-can-drink event hosted on the top of a skyscraper downtown Kochi City. The venue had a stellar view of the downtown core, as well as a view of the Kochi Mountains and Kochi Castle. The only downside was that it was outside and without air conditioning, and even though the tables were shaded, it was hot. Many of us sweated quite profusely. The food was great, and the drinks suited us just fine. I was sad to see so many familiar faces go, but soon new jets will arrive and new friendships will be formed. Thus is the nature of the jet program. Wow, what an insanely busy month. With Yosakoi festivals right around the corner, the action can't stop, won't stop. But that's all for now. Take care and be bold.